Every 60 seconds, somewhere in the world, a millionaire slips out the back door. Not fleeing, not hiding, just moving smarter. Leaving behind the noise, the politics, the tax bills, and landing where capital is treated like royalty.
Well, thanks at least in part to the growing number of millennial millionaires who call South Florida home. Many are transplants from high-tax states.
This isn't about greed. It's not about loopholes. It's about financial gravity. Because money, real money, doesn't beg for a seat at the table. It builds its own. And when the world watches the stock tickers, the wealthy are watching the maps.
One of the key businesses that helped revitalize this one bankrupt city was banking. And the big question tonight is what sort of relationship will big business, which is at the core of capitalism and at the core of New York City, what will they have with the new Democratic Socialist mayor, Zoran Mamdani?
In the US, it's not just individuals fleeing high taxes, it's billions of dollars in taxable income. New York alone lost over $14 billion in taxable income to Florida between 2018 and 2022. California lost $24 billion.
Moving to Arizona, Nevada, Texas, or Florida. But a new study says rich people are the ones who are bouncing, and as they go, concerns that California's golden geese are taking flight.
Florida and Texas, with zero state tax income and pro-business environments, are absorbing that wealth. But what's less obvious is how they're building entire ecosystems to retain it. From zero estate tax to creditor protection laws that shield assets under homestead exemptions. This isn't a superficial migration. It's a reallocation of financial infrastructure. Ultra-high net worth individuals are establishing residency in states with favorable tax regimes, while also reorganizing their business entities and trust structures to reduce exposure to jurisdictions with aggressive tax codes. Consider the SALT deduction cap introduced in 2017. It effectively penalizes residents in high-tax states by limiting their deductibility of state and local taxes to $10,000, accelerating the migration among those with high adjusted gross income.
Challenger to the New York Stock Exchange and NASDAQ is one step closer to opening up in the Lone Star State.
And states such as Texas are now proposing their own stock exchanges, a bold play to capture both the financial market and the ecosystem that surrounds them, from trading firms to compliance infrastructure. These Sunbelt states are not just tax shelters. They're rapidly becoming centers of venture capital, private equity, and fintech. Miami's Wynwood district has morphed from street art to startup capital. Austin is now a hub for decentralized finance and digital asset custodianship. The wealthiest Americans are also moving legal ownership structures, and that matters more than moving zip codes. In South Dakota alone, over $800 billion is now managed through dynasty trusts, more than the GDP of most countries. This, along with asset protection and directed trusts, are the legal backbone of generational wealth. South Dakota and Delaware offer statutes that permit trusts to exist in perpetuity, bypassing the rule against perpetuities and shielding assets for multiple generations. These trusts are not just tax-deferred vehicles. They enable strategic control separation, where one trustee manages the investment strategy and the other oversees distributions, minimizing fiduciary risk. In Nevada and Wyoming, LLC structures are used to house these trusts, providing charging order protection, pass-through taxation, and a firewall against creditors. And increasingly wealthy families are turning to private trust companies, or PTCs, entities that serve as trustee for a single family's trusts, allowing centralized control while avoiding the limitations of commercial trust companies. These families will also use multi-jurisdictional planning. They might live in Florida, hold trust in South Dakota, operate LLCs in Wyoming, and maintain bank accounts in Singapore. This level of planning is not evasion, it's optimization.
LLC. So this one LLC here will own all of our LLCs. And so a question that comes up a lot is, how many real estate LLCs or business LLCs can I place inside of this one Wyoming LLC? The answer is as many as you want. You can create as many LLCs as you want.
And as the US reshuffles its own financial map, a parallel shift is happening globally. Cities aren't just competing on lifestyle anymore. They're competing on legal infrastructure, sovereign risk, and capital velocity. Leading this new league of wealth magnets is the UAE. Dubai in particular isn't just attracting wealth, it's designing around it. With zero personal income tax, a 10-year golden visa, and a regulatory environment that welcomes family offices and private capital. Dubai has become the sandbox of global high net worth strategy. Singapore's rise has been deliberate. It offers tax exemption schemes under Sections 13O and 13U, attracting family offices and global fund managers. Portugal, even as it adjusts its golden visa and NHR policies, continues to draw wealth with legal clarity and EU access. And Switzerland remains the classic. Lump sum tax arrangements, zero capital gains tax, and ironclad confidentiality, they've never lost their appeal. So why does all of this matter? If you're not a millionaire, why should you care? Because when the wealthy leave, they take more than property value. They take financial oxygen. In cities like New York and San Francisco, the top 1% fund over 40% of the state income tax revenue. That's money keeping roads paid, schools open, and emergency rooms running. When they leave, governments either raise taxes on everybody else or cut services. It starts small, fewer after-school programs, longer ER wait times, public transit delays. But over time, it cascades. A city's ability to attract new talent, fund innovation, or simply maintain livability erodes. And when those services degrade, the middle class start to follow. First the entrepreneurs, then the knowledge workers, the teachers, the nurses, the tech builders. You don't need to be rich to want better, but if better leaves, the rest of us have to pay the bill. Meanwhile, cities that attract wealth don't just fill their budgets, they reshape their trajectory. Miami became a tech hub. Austin became a magnet for early-stage capital. Dubai transformed into a sovereign strategy lab. These places aren't just beneficiaries, they're becoming the blueprint. So ask yourself, not just where the wealthy are going, but what they see coming. What cracks are they avoiding? What compounding growth are they chasing? Because those answers affect us all.
New York has to compete. There are great cities everywhere. We now have more people in Texas than we have in New York.
Wealth migration isn't just about billionaires moving to a beach. It's about how money reshapes the ground it lands on and what's left behind when it takes off. This isn't about envy. It's not about escape. It's about signals. The rich don't wait for headlines. They move before the ripple becomes a wave.
Finances. 3 out of 4 said their incomes are not keeping up with inflation. That's a lot of people struggling to make ends meet.
The working poor and the working class are struggling just to stay off the streets, and there's no respite to come. There's no support from the government. There's no support from our neighbors because we don't know them. Our families are broke.
Because when capital migrates, it doesn't just take flight. It redraws the map.